Hey friend, you're listening to Shut Down, Not Shaken, a special mini-series of the At Ease for colored girls who fled corporate when six figures wasn't enough podcast. I'm Cristin Candace, and the government may be shut down, but you don't have to be. So let's take a deep breath together and find our ease. So today I want to talk about the coordinated attack, if you will, on federal workers. Back in 2023, Russell Vought, in a speech, said, "We want the bureaucrats to be traumatically affected. When they wake up in the morning, we want them to not want to go to work because they are increasingly viewed as villains. We want to put them in trauma." So as a Fed, as you can imagine, a Fed with 17 years of experience, I have a lot of friends, family, and colleagues who are furloughed. I'm also a manager whose team is furloughed. And, I spend a lot of time talking to Feds, whether in a personal or professional capacity. And if trauma was the goal, it's working. And it shows up differently in everyone. There are some people who are internalizing some of the messaging about their work. They no longer believe that the work that they do or their experience is valuable anywhere else outside of the federal government. There are people who are experiencing the Sunday scaries for the very first time, who are crying, getting up, and just the thought of going to work. And then there are those of us who are depriving ourselves of any inkling of joy. And I used to resist joy. In seasons of hardship, I believe joy was something you had to earn, that it didn't belong when things were hard, that to feel joy when life felt heavy almost felt kind of disloyal, like I was ignoring the struggle. But what I had to learn, and I want you to hear this, is joy is really not a reward. Joy is not a bonus for when everything is fixed. Joy is one of the ways we stay alive when we push through. It is, in fact, resistance. In a moment where so many things feel uncertain and weighty, I want us to reclaim joy not as escape, but as evidence that we still live, we still breathe, and we still have hope. And if you are one of those people who may be experiencing the Sunday scaries or feeling extreme dread when you're getting up in the morning and go to work, I have definitely been there. You can go back and listen to episode 17. I will link the show notes. I will link the episode in the show notes so that you can hear about some of my experience around fear of going to work. So I am speaking from a place of experience when I say that, one, it's not going to last forever. And two, those thoughts are not serving you. And if you're someone who thinks your skill set isn't valuable, I want you to know that that's not true. I was talking with a colleague after I returned to work after being laid off back in April. And she said something that really struck me. And also, if I'm being honest, it made me a little sad for her. And she just kind of said, what else am I going to do? I've only ever worked for the government. I can't do something else. And that's not true. You may be comfortable in your job. You may be uncomfortable going out to try something else, having to develop new skills, having to upskill. But the skills that you have right now, the experience that you have right now are in fact valuable. And before you want others to see your value, you're going to have to first see it in yourself. And let's say hypothetically, my experience with the Sunday scaries or having that doubt around my skill set, let's say it's completely invalid and I'm wrong about your knowledge, skills, and abilities. Would you rather continue to move through life in reaction to your fears, or would you rather be guided by what feels good for you? Life is going to keep lifing. Seasons will keep shifting, and withholding joy is not protecting you. If anything, it's shrinking you. It's telling you that you don't deserve to feel alive in this mess. Joy is not indulgence. It's defiance. Audre Lorde famously said, "Caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation." And that is an act of political warfare. That line is powerful because it reminds us that caring, nurturing, and sustaining ourselves is deeply political in a world that often tells us we don't matter. When systems and institutions work to erase us, joy is reclaiming ourselves. To feel pleasure, laughter, delight, that is pushing back on a world that expects exhaustion from us. So when we choose joy, or when I choose joy, a silly dance, a song that lifts me, a moment with the sun on my skin, I'm not ignoring the pain. I'm choosing to affirm my existence in spite of the pain. Joy doesn't cancel out grief or struggle. It coexists. And when we lean into it, it gives us strength, aliveness, and more fuel for the journey. And beyond our time during the shutdown, I want us to also talk about professional joy and the idea that joy can exist in our work, even and especially during transitions. The concept of professional joy suggests that work doesn't have to be joyless, even if it's not perfect. That there are elements in our jobs, in our calling, in our craft that can spark delight. Even when you're in limbo, even when you're in transition, pieces of your work or small tasks, mini projects can remind you why you do what you do. And for me, part of that professional joy is this podcast. It's messy and imperfect, but when I hear from people, when I'm having connection with others who are listening, when I create something that I know is helping someone else, that brings me joy in the middle of my uncertainty. Joy in work doesn't mean ignoring the weight of what's happening. It means weaving light into the heavy. It means choosing tasks that feed your soul, not just your resume. So I want to leave you today with a few questions to reflect on. And again, you can journal, you can talk about them with a friend, or just ponder on them yourself. Question 1. How have you defined joy in your life? And where did that definition come from? Question 2. What would it look like to allow joy right now, even in uncertainty? What small moment, work task, or interaction today could you lean into as a seed of joy? And if joy feels foreign to you right now, start small. One breath that feels expansive, one stretch, one melody you enjoy, one text to someone that you can send that makes them smile. These small acts really are radical, and they add up over time. Let's stop thinking that joy is only for the after. Let's claim it in the midst. Let's give ourselves permission to feel alive even when life feels on pause. Thank you for holding space with me. My hope is that you feel a little more free to invite joy back in, not as a luxury, but as sustenance. That you see joy isn't the enemy of your pain, it's part of your survival. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and if the government is still shut down, I'll see you tomorrow. Lastly, if you're enjoying this series, I encourage you to share with a friend, leave a like or a 5-star review, and subscribe.